Hi everyone, I would like to show you this Majors Only out of print, I believe, Javanese Folktales Tarot by I.K. Andhika and published by Adam McClean. I believe Adam McClean is a rather known independent publisher of interesting limited edition unusual tarot decks known to tarot collectors. He has a website and a lot of his decks are like that. It's very highly glossed, home laminated. I think it has at least the feeling of home lamination. Whether it has been home laminated or not, I can't say. I have another deck that I'm quite keen to show you, even though I don't normally like showing decks on my channel that are out of print, because I do not want to encourage unhealthy behaviors, and also because I collect for personal pleasure really mainly, and if for me collecting is a rather intimate personal activity. But I don't mind sharing my collection if it can help people decide about particular items or educate them with regards to collecting themselves, like vintage batiks like this. But for deck, as a rule, I don't normally like to show out of print decks. However, I felt the need to show this one in the name of diversity and cultural awareness. So if you've seen my update video, I am working towards getting back to my other channel, which is very much a cultural heritage channel, Anna K with one N, A-N-A, and then K, which was part of my Blue Ginger activity, Blue Ginger collectible, vintage and collectibles. Initially, that was a way for me to fund my hobby, collecting antiques and vintage cultural heritage items, and then it becomes more of a raising awareness non-profit activity where I don't really make any money. I just pass things along, but in the process I can talk to people about cultural heritage and things, not just awareness, but how to preserve them and save them from extinction in some instances. So in any case, this is going to be a flip through and not a walk through, because I found out that a lot of the folk tales here, which I grew up with as a child in Java, I've kind of forgotten the details of. So I remember the names, I remember the titles and all that, and I vaguely remember what it's about, but I think I may have to research them and do a proper walkthrough where I can tell you each of the stories, what it's about, and just have a synopsis of each of the stories which represent each of the major arcana card here. For now, I'm just going to do a flip through just to show you what it looks like aesthetically, really. So I have here a mask, and it's not here for decorative purposes, although it is rather nice, but it is an illustration of what all the characters are wearing in this deck. So those, that's not a painted face, that's a Javanese traditional mask that dancers often wear in telling a story. And they look somewhat like this. This is huge, you can see my hand here. Now this is huge, so it is decorative. This particular one is a modern take of the traditional mask, Javanese mask. As you can see, even the decor is very modern. There are a variety of batik patterns around here which have been placed onto the mask here. So in that sense, the patterns aren't modern, but the way in which they were put together is very modern and very decorative. And it's too big for a human head or a human face to fit in. So as you can see, that's pretty big. Now that's big. So the masks work quite geniusly. You can see there's a slit there. And so from the front, you can't really see any holes. So from afar, especially on stage, if you imagine, you see there, you just see a face. And but in fact, from the back, that slit is positioned strategically where the eyes are, and it's carved a certain way by hand so that the curve can fit your face, and it holds, the face holds the mask around the chin here. This is where it fits around here. So it's very much like lady shoes or shoes in general, I suppose. You know how your heels will slip into your shoes and they don't slip out, and if your shoes aren't properly made or aren't made to the measurements of the shape of the feet of the general population, because I realized that different population have different shaped feet. Like French shoes tend to be loose around the back for everyone else, but very tight at the front, for example, which led a lot of us to conclude that French people perhaps have a straighter form feet, with the front being smaller and the back being wider. However, going back to this mask, it's very, very ingenious that you don't then need any strings, so that when the dancers would walk around, they would walk around and dance with the mask unworn like this, and then at some moment in time they would then put the mask on midstream, as in the middle of the dance. They'll dance with the mask in their hand, and then boom, they'll put it on, and all it takes is to put it on your face like that and it'll stay put. It's very, very very unique, and I think it's just ingenious, really. So that's that mask. I will talk more about these things in my other channel, Anna K. I will try and put that below. I also have another channel called Blue Ginger, but that's very inactive, and so I felt that it's better to just return to a pre-existing channel rather than start a new. So anyway, we'll do a flip through of this. So once again, I will try to research the stories, and then I will probably do a proper walkthrough with each of a synopsis of each of the stories in the cards. That's the back. The back is patterned after a very traditional Javanese pattern, batik pattern there. A very traditional pattern and very traditional coloring as well. So I would hold it probably a bit longer, so that if you are keen to Google each of these names, you're welcome to it, but most of you probably won't. So this is Joko Bodo. Bodo means silly or stupid, but there is a story around Joko Bodo. I remember the name, I don't remember the story. So that's the Fool. And what I mean to say is that Joko Bodo is not about stupidity, but it's about that sort of wisdom in simpler things, or in a simpler way to see, in a simpler ways of seeing things. This one is Joko Kendil, the magician. The high priestess is Roro Anteng. It says Rara there, but the Javanese or Eastern or Central Javanese will say Roro. The Western Javanese will say Rara, Rara Anteng, and it's usually a term you use to refer to a lady, Roro, the Javanese way. This one is Ajar Sukaresi, the Hierophant. I can't seem to see very clearly from my viewfinder here. This is the Emperor, Raja Sumedang Larang. He's a king. This is the Empress, Dayang Sumbi. That's a really famous story of Dayang Sumbi. This is the Lovers. This is the story of Ande Ande Lumut and Klenting Kuning. There's a whole song about Ande Ande Lumut. The Chariot is Sangkuriang. There's a lot of establishment named Sangkuriang in the city that I was born in, Bandung. That's West Java. The people of West Java, the people of Bandung, are called the Sundanese people. They have their own food, their own language, and their own traditional clothing, their own stories and folklores. Strength here is Timun Mas, that's golden cucumber. And that Timun Mas, the golden cucumber, is a story that all Indonesian children would have heard of, or at least Javanese children would have. The Hermit, Ki Agung Wonoboyo. When you say Ki, it's usually a wise older man. See, that's a mask. The Wheel of Fortune. It is represented by Purbasari and Luntung Kasarung. Luntung Kasarung, sorry. Purbasari and Luntung Kasarung. I think Luntung is a No, I'm not sure. A monkey? I think that's the monkey there. This one is Justice, bawang merah and bawang putih. Again, very, very often told children's tale. Bawang merah is, in English, is shallot. Bawang putih is garlic. But bawang merah and bawang putih, literally translated, is white onion, red onion. And so shallot and garlic doesn't sound as nice as bawang putih, bawang merah, onion, red onion, white onion is the name of these two girls. So it has a whole story about these two girls. And then this one is the hanged man. Here is Raden Kusuma. Raden is usually a term used for a highly positioned young man in society. This one is Death, Sanghyang Sri. Sanghyang is a is a term you use for divinity. And so like in Bali, I think in Bali, God is referred to as Sanghyang Widi, I think. And Sri, I believe the goddess Sri is the goddess of rice and paddy. And I think at some stage she passed away or died and perished and become paddy and become, these rice here. And the Javanese or the Indonesian relies heavily on rice. It is a symbol of life, the source of life, without which you can't live, you can't survive. Rice is very, very important. We used to be told that if we even left one speck of rice on our plate, it would cry, and that you will upset, Dewi Sri here, Sanghyang Sri, or the goddess Sri, because she'll feel like we take her for granted. And so until today, I can't throw away food. Until this very day, I have trouble throwing away food. So I'll talk about that in, hopefully, when I get a chance to research the story a bit more. This one is Temperance, Sri Tanjung. Again, the mask there. This one here is the devil, represented by Putri Koban Baung. Putri is princess. This is the tower, represented by Putri Gilang Rinukmi, another princess. This is the star, represented by Putri Chandra Kirana, another story around a princess. Chandra Kirana is another name that I hear often and a lot around Java. She's very well known. This is the moon. This one is Nawang Mulan. Nawang Mulan, Wulan in Javanese is moon. There's look like a sad story there because he's crying. I think she's returning to the moon. This one is the sun, represented by Cindelaras. The story of Cindelaras. Judgment is represented by Batara Guru. Guru is like a teacher. And that looks like one of the Hindu, what we call the main god of of Hinduism as it manifested itself in Java and Bali. And is that Brahma? I'm not sure. That depiction is very feels very familiar to me. Batara Guru is this, the big teacher. Judgment. And finally, the world, Kayon. I suspect Kayon, again, I'm just flipping through this to show you. I haven't researched it or anything, and hopefully I will have a walkthrough. But I suspect Kayon is this, in the tradition of the Wayang performance, shadow puppets, which photo I've shared with you guys on my Instagram. Andhika is here, made of cowhide usually, and highly skilled artisan to make one of these. And the performer would fast and pray and seek help from spirits so that the performance can last 3 days and 3 nights, sometimes without him sleeping or eating. And it that sort of thing really require, you know, superpower really, and also so that the performance is mesmerizing, and so that the performance is charged with more than just mere performance. And so this usually represent the world. Any scene would open up with this thing here, which I suspect is called Kion. I could be wrong. Let me do a bit of research after this, but that is the universe. It's not just the world, it's the universe. That would start with that and end with that symbol here. So that is the major arcana only, Javanese Folktale Tarot by initial I, initial K, Andhika. And there is a website and everything, but many people have tried to contact the creator and there's no response, and it seems like the website has been inactive for a long time. So the only way really is to contact Adam McClean, I suppose, whose website I believe is still active, at least the last time I looked. But many people have tried to contact the creator to very, very limited success. Dare I say no success at all. But if it is simply to raise awareness about this, or perhaps encourage the creation of more diverse decks by creators of other backgrounds and cultural persuasion other than the mainstream Western European that currently we mostly have, then so be it. I wish to, or I hope to be able to contribute to perhaps some voices raised, perhaps, so somehow, somewhere along the line, maybe the creator might be persuaded to either reissue, or the publisher, or even create a full deck, who knows, right? So that's my hope, because I think we can do with a bit more of these things, especially given the success of the that other Indonesian themed deck called Taro Nusantara, whose main guy who created it is mainly in the self-help psychology business, so that he isn't focusing on tarot, which is a pity, because his third edition was so high in demand, but it's not very well made. It felt a bit rushed, because I think, I mean, that shows that if there's enough voices asking for it to be created, perhaps they might create it again. Quality is another issue, unfortunately. But so yeah, so that's the Javanese Folktales Tarot Majors only, and hopefully when I get a chance of researching each of the stories a bit more, I'll come back with a proper walkthrough.